Okay, here we are again. Hello, I'm Kaylee. I'm still feeling a little sick, but that's okay. So I kind of just want to go over the books that I want to read for the rest of the year. It's December 3rd. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to read all of these. These are just some things that I want to have in mind going forward. And as I finish the like 5 books that I'm reading right now, my Goodreads goal for the year is 90 and I've read 85. So I need to finish at least 5 by the rest of the year. But I'm hoping to squeeze in maybe a couple more, but we'll see. So first of all, the ones that I'm reading right now, I'm reading Bunny. I'm not sure who this is by. I'm reading that one on my phone right now, on Kindle, I believe. And that's going pretty well. I'm only probably like a quarter of the way through it, but I'm liking it so far. I'm hoping to finish it by the end of the year because my loan for it expires in like 2 weeks, so I need to make sure it's done. Second of all, don't come for me. I say that all the time. Don't come for me. I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey, okay? And I will not take any criticism. I simply will not. Me and my friend watched the first movie the other night, and let me just say, don't judge me, don't criticize me. I like it, okay? And it's like Twilight. I know it's not good. Like, it's not, and I will admit that, but I love it, and it makes me happy. So I'm going to read it and watch it, and you can't stop me. There's that. I'm also reading that on my phone. And then the books that I'm reading physically. Okay, Dracula, Bram Stoker. I'm listening to it, but I'm also reading it. I'm maybe halfway, maybe a third of the way, and I'm liking it so far. I actually really do. A lot of people don't love Dracula. They're like, oh yeah, it's Dracula. It's like solid, pretty okay. But I'm actually really liking it. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's a good thing that I'm listening to the audiobook while reading it because it makes it go a lot faster and I can kind of like visualize what's happening better. But I feel like if I was just listening to the audiobook, I would miss some of it because I just have a hard time listening to audiobooks. I feel like I get distracted pretty easily. I started it a while ago and I would just like to start the new year off with fresh books, new books, all of the above. I'm also still reading 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I've been reading this since September, and it's not the book's fault, it's just my fault. I've been reading a bunch of different things, and I've wanted to like sit down and read it and not just read 1 or 2 pages here and there, because it's kind of that book where like you need to be able to sit and give time to it and not just 10 minutes here and there. You know what I mean? And I wanted to fully enjoy the story. So there's that. But I've been reading it more lately. Last night I was awake until like 3 a.m. because I'm mentally ill. And I made myself a cup of tea and I sat on my couch and I read like 10, 15 pages of this. And I really like it. It's like a comfort book. I don't even know how to describe it. There's like magical realism and it's just a very odd story, but I really, really like it so far. There's something about how this author writes that I really like. This is my first work of his, and I'm really into it. I'm like maybe 15% through, probably not even that. I have become obsessed with tracking how far along I am in books on Goodreads, and it's a problem. Like, I'll read 10 pages and I'm like, I gotta put it into Goodreads. But it'd be like that, you know? So there's that. I am hoping to finish that by the end of the year. I really just want to give it the time that it deserves and the time that it needs. So we'll see. Moving on. This is Patrick, again, joining us. This one is ambitious, and I know that. This is another one I started in September, and I took a long break off of reading it in like October because I wasn't really reading at all in October. I talked about this in my last video. Go watch it if you care about what I was doing in October and November because I explain it in depth there. But War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy. Look at that. I'm really actually addicted to this, and I have over 800 pages left, but even that, I'm like, is that going to be enough for me? Like, I love this story so much. I am on page I'm on page 570. I am like almost done with volume 2. And then there is, I believe, volume 3 and volume 4, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm a good chunk through for sure. Almost 600 pages in. And this book just has my whole heart and soul. There's something about the way that Tolstoy writes, his characters and their different relationships, their different feelings. It feels very effortless. Like, it feels like I'm reading about real people and someone's just like observing them and trying to figure out their relationships and how they all connect and how they all think and feel. It's very interesting. I've never read a book written like War and Peace because it's not following a singular plot line. It's not following a singular character or a singular family. It's jumping through all these different characters, these different families. You have the societal part where he's talking about relationships between characters, who's marrying who, what these people are up to in their day-to-day lives. And then you're also following the war part with the soldiers and Napoleon, and like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I have experienced all 5 stages of grief at the same time. Just at all of it. Every feeling that a person could feel, I have felt while reading this book so far, and I'm not even halfway through. So yeah, I was describing this to my Snapchat story because I like to talk to myself on my Snapchat story and on here apparently. I really wish I could just dive inside the book and just be there. Like, I don't even want to be one of the characters or anything like that. I just want to be inside the story, and I don't know how else to describe it than like that. Like, it's just so comforting. I want to be within the pages, a part of the book. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't think that makes sense, but to me it does. I have, I think, like 800 pages left, and I'm hoping to finish by the end of the year. Right now I'm just reading about 30 pages a day, I believe. And yeah, I really want to finish it by the end of this month, because that was a big goal I had this year of like, I want to read War and Peace start to finish. So I'm hoping. But then I think about it and I'm like, I only have 1 more month left of this world. I'm gonna bawl my eyes out. And I know I'm going to at some point, just like cry and cry and cry and cry. But that's okay. Next up, some books that I would like to start. I don't know if I'm gonna even read any of these. We'll see how my life goes. But I do have my eye on these ones, and if I don't get to them this month, they will be some of my first reads of 2023. That's bonkers. One of those books that I would like to read is A Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin. I'm from Utah. We don't say T's. This book, I have never watched the show. I've never read any of my man's books. I don't even know if he has any other books besides the Game of Thrones series. I just know nothing about this. I know nothing about the story. I know it's intense. I know it's like epic fantasy vibes. I recently picked this up at Barnes & Noble. I got like a bigger version. This book is so like floppy. Like, look at that. That's some good flop. I love a floppy paperback. It just feels like, you know, the pages are soft. I wanted a bigger copy and not just one of the little like mass market paperbacks, because I wanted to like the words are pretty big. Not like pretty big, but they're legible, and it's like 700 pages. So I wanted to be able to enjoy it and have like a proper sized book. So there's that. I don't have much to say, but I do really want to read it. I've surprisingly been in the mood for fantasy lately, which I'm not like a big fantasy person. I have read a lot of classics this year. I've read a lot of just like literary fiction this year, but not like a whole ton of fantasy. I'm not a big fantasy gal, except for like Harry Potter, which I reread at the beginning of this year / like the end of last year. And I read Percy Jackson this year, which is for sure fantasy. After that, we have The Blood Spell by C.J. Redwine. This book, I love that I always have to look. I'm like, I never know anything about anything. This book is fantasy again. I think it's more, I don't know if this is middle grade actually. I'm not sure. But this is like winter fantasy. I think it's a Cinderella retelling. I'm not sure, but I've heard it's good and I want to read it. I would like to read wintry vibes this month. I don't know why, like fantasy just reminds me of Christmas and winter. I think it's because Christmas is a very like magical holiday, unlike any other time of the year, like with the snow and everything. It just feels very special and very magical. So we're trying to embrace that this year. I've got my little festive sweater going on. I love this sweater so much. Okay, Target, like maybe $10-15. I have this sweater in 3 colors. I have this one, I have a baby blue one, and a like dusty mauve color one. And it's like a crop top, you can't see, but it's really cozy and it fits me and it's like good for my body shape. And I don't know, I love this sweater so much. Anyways, moving on. The Ogress, and the Orphans. This book looks so cute. Again, fantasy. This one's a middle grade. I got it in the kids section at Barnes & Noble because I have been in the mood for something cozy, something light, something easy to read. I'm in the mood with War and Peace and like 2 other classics. Like, you know, my brain needs a break, which is why I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey. But this book, oh, and it's by Kelly Barnhill. And yeah, it's just about an ogre woman, an ogress, apparently. I feel like that sounds like I'm saying it wrong, but I'm really not sure. Look at the cover. It looks iconic. So cute, right? I'm obsessed. I want to read it so bad. My friend also told me that there's a movie based on it. I don't know if that's true, but maybe I'll have to watch that too. Especially if it's like a cartoon. That would be so cute. I love cartoons. 2 left, okay? First off, Pinball 1973 by Haruki Murakami. Yeah. So I have a life mission that I want to read all of his books in chronological order. It's something a lot of people do with Murakami, and that's my plan. So this book also has Hear the Wind Sing, and I read that one, I think in September or something. I really don't know. I think it was September, but don't quote me on that. And I want to read the next one, which is Pinball 1973. These books are both pretty short, which is why they are in the same edition. And yeah, I have his 3rd book as well. I will pick up the other ones kind of as I go. I think that would be nice to read one more Murakami by the end of the year. It's pretty short. It's a series about this man, he doesn't have a name, and his friend the rat, and they kind of just live their lives. And I don't really remember a lot of what happened in the first one. I'm sure once I start reading Pinball 1973 I'll remember a little bit more, but it's nice because you don't have to read them in order, like they all make sense on their own. Last up we have Legendary by Stephanie Garber. Is that right? That is right. Legendary. This is my friend's copy. It's a little beat up, a little loved, but that's okay. We love it. We love a good hardback. Are you kidding? So this is the 2nd book in the Caraval series. I'm not sure if the series has a different name. It says a Caraval novel, so I assume it's just the Caraval series. This book is really pretty. These covers match the story so well. Like, I'm really excited actually. I wasn't blown away by the first book. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I do really want to read the 2nd book, even though it's not like a masterpiece. I don't like that. Like, it doesn't have to be great for me to really enjoy it, because I did really like the first one. I had some opinions, also talked about that in my last video, but I definitely want to read the 2nd book, and if not this month, definitely next month and in 2023. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's 10 books, so I don't know how far we'll get into any of those because my life is crazy. I know I say that all the time. People in my real life get sick of it too. I am just constantly complaining about my psychotic life, but it's okay. We're having a good time. I made about 1 million cookies tonight because I have a Christmas party each year with all of my friends. This is going to be my 7th 7th one. And yeah, I always make a bunch of cookies. I make a bunch of sugar cookies and we all decorate them at my party. And then I make just like another like fun, like really yummy one. One year I made pumpkin white chocolate chip snickerdoodles. Those are so good. Oh, I need to make those again. Those were so good. I was gonna make them this year, but I was like, maybe we'll spice things up. I've made those the last couple years. So a friend requested snickerdoodles with caramel in them because I made those for like a New Year's Eve party I had many years ago, and she's been wanting me to make them again for so long, and I don't think I've ever made them since. It was just kind of like not an accident, but it was like, oh, I'm making snickerdoodles, let's throw some caramel in them. We have some extra, just put some caramel in a batch. And they turned out really good. These ones this year turned out even better. I think the caramel melted a little bit more, so it's not so chewy. It kind of just like melted the flavors of caramel into the snickerdoodle, and they're so good. And the sugar cookies, delicious. I just buy the pack of sugar cookie mix, add the egg, add the butter. Delightful. And we will decorate them all tomorrow. My friends like writing expletives on them, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to. I need to go shower and get ready for that because it's like 10 p.m. and I'm definitely procrastinating cleaning my house. I'm gonna go do that, put all these books away, and I will talk to you guys later at some point, potentially, or maybe never again. We'll see. I don't know why I always get so close and intimate. I'm like, hi guys, hello. No one that's watching. Hello, me in the future editing this and thinking about how I'm a psychopath. I'll see you guys later. I'll see myself later while editing. Hi, Kaylee. I'm so done.